game situation, like I look at it like even when you talk about getting a lot of shots, like some people can look at you and say, "Hey, Knox, you shoot a lot," or Mahmoud, you shoot a lot, but don't leave out this part. I make a lot too. I'm efficient. I'm efficient. I'm efficient. Now, if you want to call me something else, you got to make sure you add that piece that I ain't going to miss too often now. So long as you know that piece. And I think that's what you're speaking on, man. Just, 1-2 dribble, make sure you get to your spot and be as efficient as possible, man, because that's a great attribute in today's game. And I think it's a lost art, to be honest.
Yeah. No, it is. And look, man, I tell people this all the time. I said, this is not socialism.
Right.
Everybody, look, man, ain't getting the same amount of shots, the same amount of dribbles.
No.
Right? That's why they got a starting five. That's why they got a second team. Right? And so there are people that literally have earned the ability to do those.
Of course.
And especially if you can do it without taking your team out of the flow of things.
Yes.
There's always going to be role players. There's always going to be a hierarchy based on skill level and what you bring. And this is sometimes what, we live in an era now that everybody gets a trophy.
Yeah.
What are you teaching these? No, man, no, everybody don't get a trophy.
Ain't that crazy?
You didn't do enough to deserve it. Right. And so this is what we have to change, this psychology that, no, man, some people have earned that spot to be able to do that. Or does that mean that they're always going to be perfect? No, there's no such thing as perfect.
Yeah.
Right. But when you look at, I've had this even growing up in high school. Every year in high school and happened in LSU, the only game that I didn't score double figures was against Auburn, 9 points, because I was upset.
And you remember too, but what happened, man?
I remember because it mimicked so many things that happened in high school, mimicked my LSU days. And I remember we had a tournament in the Newman tournament in New Orleans. Coach Jenkins, bless his soul, he came to me. I thought the timing was terrible. I understood what he was saying, but I was offended. He said, Mahmoud, he started off by saying, at the time, my name was Chris. He said, Chris, listen, what I'm about to tell you, listen to me. And I knew already just how he bringing it. Something ain't right.
We know.
he said, some of the players are upset they ain't getting the ball enough. And I'm looking at him, right? He said, just get him involved a little bit more. But all I could hear is they're upset they ain't getting the ball. And I'm like, well, what did you tell them? Because is it my fault when you keep, because he had a play, he'll raise the fist. That means isolate.
Clear out.
So am I to blame because I can get my shot off? And you keep calling this play.
Right.
Right. So I got upset. Right. I thought he didn't necessarily defend me enough. And so I went out. It was the last game. We could have won that game. We could have won. I did not shoot until maybe 4 minutes left in the game. He kept me in the game. He ain't taking, because he knew I just kept passing it because you had guys talking.
Right.
You know how sometimes guys, they see you, I can do that. If I had those shots. So I'm like, okay, here you go.
Right.
I'm giving it to you. You want to be that dude? Here you go.
Here you go. Let's go. What you got?
We're down. We're losing. 4 minutes. Man, shoot the boss. And I don't like the curse, but I said something back to him. And then that last 4 minutes, I think I went off about 13, 14 points, but it was too late. And then I vowed after that, I said, man, I ain't never going to let somebody deter me from my mission again because of the insecurities or whatever. And then at LSU, the same thing happened again.
Wow.
I'm like, dude, I'm not a selfish guy. But if I got the shot, a part of running plays, right?
Exactly. Yes.
Is that at any moment, if I'm running and I got to pass to this wing, but he overplays it, the play is just a structure. But if he overplays it, I got to be intelligent enough. Okay, I'm not going to be trying to do this and get the ball to the one. I'm going to cross you over,
And
and I'm going
go.
to take advantage of the overplay. And if I got a shot, I got it. If I don't, I'm going to pass it. And so I got offended again. Coach didn't take me out the game, but I was just passing the ball. And I ended up having 9 points, and I got mad at myself again. I said, why I keep doing this, man?
Right.
It'll take one of these games every year to piss me off, and then I won't let it happen no more.
Yeah.
You know, so my point is, this ain't socialism.
Right.
Not everybody get the same amount of touches, the same amount of shots. We're not ignoring you, but hey, then there's a time and a place for everybody.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. So talk to me about this, man. What, like your transition to LSU? Obviously, you went there and you played with Shaq. That was a big time situation. Tell us a little bit about that, man. I know that had to be a nice experience.
It was. When I first got to LSU, I remember Kent Lowe, a guy in journalism, asked me the question. He said, "What do you want your career to say for itself?" I said, if I can average 13.7 assists, that'll be a decent career. Now, don't get me wrong. My heart, my mind was telling me, man, I'm trying to dominate. I'm trying to kill.
Of course.
But I understood at a young age, it's kind of like what you hear now with Shador, right? Oh, he's cocky, he's this, he's that. Even when Tiger Woods came out and said, I want to win. You know, why go to a tournament if you don't want to win? And they still viewed it as cocky. So even at that age, I'm like, you know what? I ain't gonna tell them everything. Because if I say, look, man, I want to dominate, I want to be the best in the world, they'll probably think, man, who are you to think this? Or it might be misconstrued as being cocky.
Of course.
But also I did understand too that 13 and 7 are decent numbers.
Absolutely. As a freshman.
Right. But I wasn't about to tell them my whole vision. And so what was interesting, and I tell people this too, I said, if you want to change people's perception, right, they have to see. You just can't talk. So I would make it a point. I come before practice. Even though they've seen me in high school, I'm in practice. Even when I was in junior high and high school, elementary, I would get to practice early, and I'm leaning, I'm dribbling, I'm shooting, because you never know who's watching. And I'm training your eyes to see me differently, right? I don't want you to put me in no box. And so I want you to get used to, like, man, I see him working on that every day. So when I do it in practice, it's not like, hey, I don't see you working on that. Don't take this shot. Don't. He can make that. And so I did the same thing at LSU. I would go to the basement. I would come early, and he'd sing it. So after that first game, I literally had about what I said I wanted for my career, 13 and 7. Second game, I had 21. After that second game, I said, man, because I'm trying to still do a temperature check with coaches, players. But I noticed, I say, man, this feels like I'm back in, like, literally, this feels like high school.
Exactly.
Like, no, literally, like, I'm thinking, man, all of these bigger dudes, but that's the power of consistency too. Working on something every single day, pushing yourself to the limit. And consistency is going to eventually show up in times like that. And after that second game of 21, I remember him grabbing me at the walking in. We lost it. He said, look, we're going to need you to score more. I said, Coach, I'll try. My third game as a freshman, we were playing Louisiana Tech, and I had 48. And then after that, I had 36, I think. And then we go to Florida. National televised, and I get to 53. You know, and it felt like I was literally, I'm like, man, this feels like I haven't skipped a beat. And remind you, I don't say this a lot. I was 30 pounds overweight.
30 pounds overweight?
My beginning of my high school senior year, I was 155. They put me on Haldol and Perlixin, which is a psychopathic drug that they, I didn't know it then. It puts you to sleep. It makes you eat, sleepy, and thirsty. So if I'm not moving, I just sleep. I gained within that, because we play like 40 something games a year in high school at Gulfport High. There's no way I should have been 172 at the end of my season.
Wow.
Then I was 185 my freshman year in college. So 155 to 185, that wasn't my weight.
Yeah.
And so I was literally 30 pounds. I was overweight my first year in college. I can only imagine if I was my playing weight now. When I went to Denver, my first year was about 180 something.
Wow.
Bad 180 something.
Mm-hmm.
Then I ended up losing 40 pounds, getting back to my 155. That's when I got most improved. When I
Wow.
got back down to my high school weight.
Mm-hmm.